given to us. If we do that, then we can be we can go beyond the darkness of nations. That's what was there discussed in that verse. And this is a conversation between Narad Muni and Dhruva Maharaj, because Narad Muni saw Dhruva Maharaj in the forest and he wanted to test his determination. First, he told that you should go and play. This is not the age of coming and doing the sacrifice. You can come later on, and then you can, when you grow a little older, you can come and do that. That time I will guide you. And then he tells about all different things, like how one should be satisfied with whatever conditions one has received from the Lord. Like, for example, this is because of the karma principle one gets those miseries in his life. So that's why he has to think that it is because of the daiva it has come to his life, so he would accept it and then go accordingly. That is the thing. So Dhruva Maharaj was hearing everything, and later on how he replies is that he is respectfully not agreeing to Narad Muni, and that's how he passes the test. And then Narad Muni tells him how to do austerities, and do what mantra he should chant and how he should do the tapa. All those things have been discussed. But this particular verse is a series of those verses where it is being describing that how one should behave with others in society, and how by doing so many trials and tribulations could be avoided, and threefold miseries would be taken care of. So this is this verse. So let's recite this verse now. Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
One more time. Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Please recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Maitrim samanat anvichen.
Natapai abhibhuyate.
Natapai
abhibhuyate. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Gunadhikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikan mudam
lipset.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Anukrosham gunadhamat.
Maitrim samanadan vichin.
Maitrim
Samanadavichan
Nataperabhibhuyate.
Natapairabhibhuyate.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One more.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please.
Gunadikan mudam lipset.
Gunadhikam mudam
Gunadam lipset. Anukrosham gunadamat.
anukrosham
Gunadamat. Maitrim samanad anvichan. Maitrim samanad anvichan. Natapaitra abhibhuyate. Abhibhuyate.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So much. So this verse now tells about three different scenarios how one should behave towards others. So here guna dhikan, one who has more guna than oneself, right? So other person, one who is more qualified. Mudam lipset. Mudam means to give pleasure. Lipset means to give the pleasure. One should feel pleasure when he is actually addressing a person who is more qualified than oneself. There should be happiness. Anukrosham gunadhamat. So guna adhama. Guna adhama means who is actually less in qualification than oneself. What one should do? Anukrosham. Krosha is an anukrosham is kind of compassion. So then maitrim samadhan anavichin. So samanad means who is on an equal level. One should do friendship with him. If one does like that, so no tapai, there is no trials, no tribulations. Three-fourths of miseries doesn't affect him. Why? Because he is not envious to anyone. Because there is no envy, so the threefold miseries don't affect him. And you will see in the purport that these are at the material level. These things are working at the material level. These and one can be very peaceful when he does these things. What we discussed, more qualified person, one should rejoice without any envy. Less qualified person, feel compassion, no contempt. Equally qualified person, be friendly, not be competitive. Thus, one is never affected by the threefold miseries. Let's read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And now, this is Srila Prabhupada very nicely in translation, paraphrases it very beautifully. So let's read the purport to get more insight on it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material turbulations. The great sage Narad, therefore, advised that a devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him, just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So Srila Prabhupada starts the purport very beautifully telling about what is the general tendency when one meets someone who is more qualified than ourselves. So we become quite envious that why he is more qualified, and I have to become like that. Not in a positive way. There is a positive way of also, like by serving him, I can become like him. Like that kind of attitude is there, or there is an envy. And then when we find someone less qualified, so how we know that the qualification criteria? That is something comes by one's intelligence, by one's own discrimination. He actually sees in that perspective one is more qualified or not. And there are shastric injunctions also to know exactly who is more qualified and who is not. Like in Nectar of Instruction, that it tells about the Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and the the lowest adhikari. What is it called? Uttama, Madhyama, and Nimna
Kanishta.
Kanishta
Kanishta, Prabhu.
Adhikari. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Kanishta Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari and Madhyama Adhikari. So the three are there. So Kanishta Adhikari, what he does. So one how do there are characteristics which is being defined, which tells about the qualification. So that is in devotional life. It is even in Kanishta there are three. There is Uttama Kanishta. There is there are. So if go into the higher levels, there is that. But one here it gives a very general understanding of how one should behave. And we know sometimes with our intellect that who is more qualified than us. So then we should respect him. Our general tendency would be a kind of envious nature comes by default sometimes. But if we try to train ourselves to appreciate them, then what will happen? That those qualities that they possess, we also get some of them because of being jolly, being very happy, being very appreciative. Even in our material dealings also, if we do that, we will be always happy. There will be no stress in the mind. The second thing is, when we find someone less qualified, we deride him. We say, oh, he doesn't know anything. What I should. Instead, one should uplift him. One should have compassion for him, and one should uplift him to the position that he could see things in a proper perspective. So the great sage Narada therefore advised that a devotee should act perfectly. So this is perfect action. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate. Just to raise him to proper standard. So when one meets one equal, then what happens? That there is a chance it's equal. But because of that equality, one wants to say, okay, how I am, because that is the nature of in material world, how I am better. That nature is always there. And also how we are better than Krishna. That's why we want to lord it over the entire, this is my property, this is me, this is mine. That mentality comes. So we forget that there is nothing me and mine. This is the body that we are having shelter in. Once this body goes, all the me and mine, everything goes. So this is ultimate mercy of Krishna. He is the supreme proprietor. He can say me and mine. We cannot say. But we say that. And same thing happens when dealing comes. If it is the equal, you say, oh, how I am better than that other person. Try to put him down or do something. But if we treat him as a friend, so then we both can move together in a force so that things work in a, what to say, win-win situation that they say in corporate language. So one should have compassion for people in general. And here, the last one, it tells about how one should, people in general, if they are ignorant, ignorant in the sense, not ignorant, we'll say. The term is people who doesn't know things, they are innocent, not ignorant. Innocent. Where those people have to be actually like who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna, then we have to spread Krishna consciousness towards them so that they get the mercy of the Lord by one way or the other. So that is the ultimate mercy. So even a Vaishnava's attitude is para upakar. So that is the attitude. So para upakara means to help others who is not self. So helping them. And these three approaches given by Narad Muni is very instructive for us, so that we can be always happy. So make one happy, because if there is no envious thing, if we behave the way it is written here, tell me where the envy will come. So these important functions will make one happy within this material world. So material world, anyway, that happiness is flickering, but even this flickering happiness would be a little longer if one do these different important functions. So even when I was looking into Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary also, it was exactly the similar as given by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. He already incorporated it. So what is the message here? The message is we have to act as Srila Prabhupada says. A devotee should act perfectly. Perfectly means the three different criteria that is being given here. So I'll pause here, and then if there is any questions, any discussion points, any suggestions, I'll welcome them.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My
Hare
pranams to
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhupada. Thank you for this verse, Prabhu. I was just thinking that these points are so subtle and present all the time. And I am just praying that I am vigilant about them and remember the instruction and get the strength to follow it, even if I know it in my head. We sometimes don't have strength. We just flow with this material.
That's very true, Mataji.
So I am just praying for that, Prabhu. But thank you for bringing this to the notice. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mother. That's very true, actually. We just read it and it is in our mind, but when we are again doing the action, we forget it. But more and more we are knowing this fact that we know it, and then we are expressing it, will help us. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah, any other reflections, questions, realizations?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So
Hare Krishna.
it is same feeling what Mataji just expressed. It's very important, looks like, in our bhakti life, especially having for Kanishta Adhikaris or even for Madhyama Adhikaris to have the higher association, and at the same time we should not be doing aparadhas with the same level or the below level. So in we tend to do one thing and maybe forgetting everything else or doing nothing on a given day. But I am also praying to remember this, not just in my head, but in the heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And if you practice it outer world also, people who are not devotees, then it will become our second nature. If we just discriminate that we are going in this association, then we'll practice that place and will not do in our workplace. Then it is always a duality in the mind, and we may not be able to like do that in our life so easily. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu.